Today I'm wearing a whippy. This outfit was made in Cobán, Guatemala. In Guatemala, there's also this kite festival that happens once a year, and it takes thousands of people to create an art display in the sky. And when I think of kites, I also think of the dreams of so many people. It's designed in so many colors, different shapes, but all of them have a purpose: to make it fly. And today, I'd like to take you on a journey to answer some of the common questions about how does it look like to live in any of those countries in the triangle in Central America. Why is this people living? What is it that they're leaving behind? And then, what are the challenges faced once they relocate to the United States? Okay, so we do have different colors in our kite. And life is made out of different stories, stages, chapters. I'd like to share with you part of my personal narrative. I was born the year of a massive earthquake, while we were going through a brutal civil war in Guatemala. My story, it's very similar to many stories of people that happen to flee the country, and it's amazing how the story repeats itself. But I'd like to share with you some of those memories.
When I was 3 years old, my father had to leave the country due to life-threatening circumstances. My mother was a victim of a police officer's harassment, and she also had to run away. At the age of 5, I was dropped off with my new family who took care of me, and this is my first day of school. My grandmother, who was a widow at the time, took care of my siblings, and we only got to see each other on special days like this, on my birthday, until my mom was able to return to a safe place. When she came back, there were siblings and cousins living at the same house. In this picture, there are 2 that are orphans. When I was 16, my dad came home with a letter of approval by the immigration department saying that I could relocate to live with him in the US. And I had lots of dreams, like the ones from Emily.
Mi nombre es Emily Daniela Catalán García. Estoy en segundo básico, parte del colegio Jardín de la Rosa. También tengo la oportunidad de tener mi media beca. Después de eso, yo quisiera ir a la universidad para sacar mi bachillerato en Ciencias de la Comunicación, luego sacar mi carrera de diseño gráfico y de cinematografía.
Muy buenas tardes, mi nombre es José Arturo Rodríguez Diaz y soy el Cónsul General de Guatemala en Oklahoma City, un gusto estar con ustedes. El Servicio Exterior o la Cancillería de Guatemala desde hace ya unos 30 años en alrededor de unos 4 o 5 países, no mal recuerdo.
Mi nombre es Suyo, soy originaria de Lima, Perú. Estoy viviendo en Oklahoma desde 2001. Vine aquí como alumna de intercambio para la Universidad de Oklahoma y tuve la oportunidad como estudiante de intercambio e internacional de obtener mi licenciatura en lo que es psicología y a la vez obtener mi maestría en relaciones humanas. Actualmente soy educadora, voy trabajando en todo el sistema educativo desde, actualmente en la escuela primaria, pero anteriormente en la middle school, la high school y también en college level por más de 12 años.
So some of my background is that I grew up in Lubbock, Texas. I have 4 sisters and 3 brothers, and I grew up, my parents were both Mexican, and they came from Mexico. They both spoke only Spanish, and so growing up in a Spanish household, we had a lot of barriers that we encountered. Some of them were language barriers, having to translate for my parents. I've taught, this will be my 16th year in the North Public School System.
Hi, so my name is Kraft. I'm an English language teacher at Truman Primary School here in Norman. Just finished 15 years of teaching in the classroom, getting ready to start 16. I was the 2015-2016 Norman Public Schools Teacher of the Year, and I have the great fortune of working with many diverse students.
United States is just very different than a lot of schools in other countries. I find it as one of my duties to teach my colleagues at school and sometimes the parents or support staff to look at and to think about what are the differences of the children coming into our classroom. What did their school day look like? What do they encounter? Do they have desks like we do? Do they have tables? Do they have concrete floors? What is their environment situated like in where they come from, in their place, their hometown? What is the teacher's role in their school system? What is the parents' role? Are the parents expected to come in and help and do all this, special little projects and stuff? Are they invited to come to assemblies and parties? Do they have things like that?
Se ríe de que sí, a visitar, ¿vale? Que vienen y a mirar los casos. María aquí paseo ayer tuve que llevar cargas trampas.
Bueno.
Ajá.
El idioma. Sin embargo, hay mucha gente que lo aprende más rápido, otra gente que le toma un poquito más tiempo. Y ese es uno de los proyectos que nace acá en el país con el señor Saidy Herrera. Y es un poquito de cómo yo aprendí inglés. Es para ayudar a las personas de caso.
¿Qué significa entonces que cuando te equivocas, qué puedes hacer? Y empezar de nuevo. ¿Cierto? ¿Estamos de acuerdo? Y por último, hay que aprender a reír. ¿Te das cuenta cómo es contagiosa la risa? La risa es súper contagiosa. Cuando aprendes a reír, las cosas se hacen mucho más fáciles.
My dad's mom passed away and dad whenever he was younger, and then my mom went to school till 8th grade, and then she encountered a lot of barriers, and so she had reasons for leaving school and felt that she didn't have the support and opportunities that she needed. So when my parents met and they got married, they just traveled wherever my dad could find a job. He worked a lot in the fields, chopping cotton, doing farm work. But then he also worked in like cotton gins, or even growing up in poverty, the way my parents were looked down on because they didn't understand the language or they didn't know where to get resources, and us having to walk them through some of that stuff.
Pues tengo, en mi cuenta tengo 4, y o sea que para mí ha sido duro.
gusten de este porte que tiene. Este porte. Y, o sea que más que todo mi dinero que yo siempre he ganado no me alcanza para que ellos pues puedan salir adelante en el estudio. Pues fíjese que aquí, yo pongámosle así, como yo que no puedo, o sea, no puedo leer, cuesta encontrar trabajo porque solamente en tortillería, comedores y nada más está ganando uno, por lo menos en las tortillerías solo 20 quetzales y con 20 quetzales que pues, lo están sacando uno a veces a las 7, 8, 9 de la noche. Okay. Entonces, eso no es un dinero que a uno le puede alcanzar, pero ni para un día. Yo tengo de andar así en casa, como dijo, alquilando, yo tengo 10 años. Okay. Vaya, yo estoy pagando ahorita porque él me está ayudando nada más 300 quetzales, porque él habló de que son niños que no tienen papá ni quien les ayude, entonces él habló para que trataran de cobrar más computación, esa parte, eso se está pagando 150 mensual también.
During my visits to other countries outside of the United States, I'm always struck by the simple joys that people appreciate. I always notice children playing outside, less screen time, nobody's stuck to a cell phone, everybody's outside enjoying ice cream in the plaza, games with friends, riding bikes, just sitting on a bench and enjoying the art of doing nothing. And the family is so important in many places, and it's so refreshing to see families out together, enjoying each other's company, and just taking time to just be, to enjoy the blessings that we have without the distractions of cell phones and go, 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 go. That's so much a part of our American culture.
Aquí es la salida del agua de que venía de las montañas, agua cristalina.
So many of my families face challenges after arriving, and there are some great fears surrounding the political environment in which we are experiencing right now. They oftentimes will feel unsafe and will underreport crimes or issues that they face because of the fear of immigration consequences or deportation. And a lot of families are faced with the challenge of understanding that at school it's a safe place. Immigration status is not something that we ask about or doesn't factor into anything as far as families being a part of their children's education. So really encouraging families to put that fear aside and become a part of the team at school is something that we really work for.
But we still went through some of the obstacles that we did at our home school, not understanding the students teasing us because they would ask us a question and we had no clue what they were saying, and us trying to respond but not really understanding what to do. We would mimic a lot, so whatever I see other children do, I try to do the same because I thought that's what the teacher had asked us to do, so sometimes it was the wrong thing because kids did it on purpose to get me in trouble or my siblings. I remember my kindergarten teacher got really frustrated with me, and it's still ingrained in my brain all these years because she was asking me to do something. I had no clue what she was asking, and her nonverbals, she got in my face and started yelling, and I had no clue what she was saying, but I just remember her getting so close to me and I just started crying because I was like, I don't have a clue what you're trying to get me to do. There's so many new things that students who are born in the United States and have gone through public school since kindergarten go through, that a lot of children who just move in here and have been here for 5 days, 6 days, it's a culture shock.
Primero, el sistema educativo en nuestros países es completamente diferente al americano, y entonces se les hace difícil entender las calificaciones. Algunas escuelas van por trimestre, no por semestre, por bimestre. En mi país es por bimestres, entonces se les hace muy difícil entender eso, las materias que tienen que llevar, las materias que son mandatorias para llevar, y los electivos. Ese concepto de clases selectivas también se les hace difícil. También no entienden cómo preparar a sus hijos para ir a la universidad, que es totalmente diferente a nuestro país, que muchos de nuestros países tienen que pasar por una prueba de admisión. Acá es en base al ACT o el SAT, o también en base a lo que es el GPA. Para calcular el GPA, yo les enseñaba muchos a mis padres de cómo se calcula un GPA y cuándo es un GPA es bueno. Me he dado cuenta de que la adaptación se les hace difícil, primero para entender el sistema educativo, dos, para entender que hay recursos disponibles para los estudiantes y que ellos son los mejores abogados de sus hijos, y tres, para entender todo ese proceso para ir a la universidad y que hay muchas opciones para que sus hijos puedan desarrollarse cuando ya terminen la escuela.
Jóvenes que se ven imposibilitados de poder continuar sus estudios, dado que se les inculca desde casa esa responsabilidad por aportar también a la economía familiar. ¿Quién mejor que sus maestros y sus tutores, consejeros que conocen de su rendimiento y de sus capacidades como para poder orientar a estos jóvenes, ¿no? Me parece que es fundamental el papel de ellos. Es importante que ellos puedan contar con los elementos o los instrumentos necesarios como para poder brindarle este servicio a sus pupilos, ¿verdad? Es importante.
I may get on a Google app or one of the translation apps and do my best, and I know, to me, I'd rather try than not try. We have teachers, we have Spanish-speaking children at my school, and teachers don't want to always be bothering me to come in and translate, so they've done the Google Translate app, and they'll push it in there and they'll let the phone say it to the child, and the child will laugh at first and he'll say, I think what you're trying to say is this. Because sometimes it's just different, and the teacher's like, oh, okay, and I'm like, but you tried. And this kid now has told me, like, it's cool that they tried. And I'm like, so showing them that I'm trying to bridge this language barrier, and they'll show you the same respect. They'll try to learn some of the languages, and you can tell when they feel that comfort and that safety to at least attempt to say some of the words that you may have pointed out several times or have said, like hello or goodbye at the end of the day. So partnering them with a peer, getting to know some of their customs and traditions through research on your own, but then as the family and the child become more comfortable, trying to figure out a way to communicate with them on what are your customs and traditions. Do you want to join us for lunch so I can have an informal conversation with you, or you can show me, maybe you have pictures you want to show me of your school. We had a family one year that brought basically like report card type assessments, and they just put the folder in front of me and said, here you go. And I said, thank you, because that at least shows me what were they assessed over there, what were they looking for, and how does that differ with what we're assessing here or looking for?
I think parent involvement is different because in my experience, in my travels, a parent would never go to a teacher and question anything. You just kind of, that whole authoritarian type of, I'm not going to question you, but here we welcome that, and we really, so getting parents to understand that you're a part of this, you're not on the outside, like it takes you also to educate your child, I think it's hard for a lot of families to kind of, oh, okay, I'm not insulting you by saying this isn't working for my child, what can we do? Many of our students, they don't know what it looks like and sounds like, and they've never seen somebody move on past high school to experience college, university, or career tech fields of work. So I think as educators and as a community, we really need to provide more supports for those students, to really think long-term, to set long-term goals rather than just thinking about right here and right now, and really expose them to different opportunities in the community that support students in post-high school studies and opportunities. Not everybody has to go to the university, but we're lucky to have a VOTEC center here that provides a number of really great programs for students. Finance is also a problem when we start thinking about university or even career tech. If a student doesn't have the proper documentation, it's very difficult to get financial aid and help with paying with those programs. So this is something that I think needs a little bit more exploration and research in finding grants and scholarships for these students. So as an educator and as an American citizen, I feel like everybody has the right to access education. There's always a debate whether it's a right or a privilege. I think in the United States we have a responsibility and an obligation to provide access to education to all children. Many of these children were not a part of the decision making when it came to leaving a home country and coming to the United States. That's something that was made by adults. So for me, I feel very strongly that every child, regardless of immigration status, has the right to receive an education in this country.
Because ultimately, we all want the best for any child that comes in our classroom. We want to build those connections. We want these families to thrive in our communities and in our classrooms and our schools. It just makes everybody better. And so we do, at the core of our heart, we want them to be successful, but trying to find these resources to help build the trusting relationship and that they're safe in the first place. That's where the challenge is at first, and trying to overcome some of those barriers. To connect and help parents stay in touch with the schools, some of the things that we have started doing at our school site that I feel that we can start connecting and bridging these resources together is, for example, in our grade level, sometimes our students don't go to full-day pre-K since they're new to the country or new to the area, so this is their first school experience. So we have what's called home visits. We ask parents if we can come to their house. We do have to explain to them that this is a very informal time we come to learn just about your family, things that maybe your child enjoys at home doing, but also it's an opportunity for us to get to know the family pet, their favorite toy, if it's okay, if their parents allow us in the house to see their bedroom, and just so things that they talk about at school, we can connect them they talk about from home, we can connect it at school. That takes a lot of relationship and trust with our parents. So one of the first things we do as a line of defense is we do what's called a parent chat.
From a leadership standpoint, there are a couple of things I think that we need to embrace. For most of these families, relationships are very important. And in order to provide a safe place for learning where parents are engaged in the learning process, we really have to build those relationships. There are a couple of ways I think we see that happen, and some ways that we have embraced this way of thinking in the past. One way is informational sessions or an orientation meeting where everybody can get together, information is delivered in Spanish or whatever the language need may be, so that these families have a place where they feel safe asking questions, really getting the point across that the expectation in the United States is that the parent is a part of the educational process. If something's not working for your child, you have the right to engage the teacher, the principal. We really want this to be a team for getting children educated in the United States and building the skills that they need to be successful. Another way that we have seen this happen is at Truman Primary. We have an after-school program called Mosaicos. It's for Hispanic and Latino families and children. The children come after school. We bring guest speakers. It's really an enrichment and leadership building program. And a big piece of that is the parent involvement. We invite parents to come. We offer workshops. And what we've seen sort of as an outcome of this program is parents have a place. It's their space. They have ownership in this program. They come with questions, they come with concerns, they come with ideas. And so we really want to duplicate that in other ways throughout the district to give our parents and our families a space where they're comfortable engaging us as educators and as members of our community.
Another thing is we've started a thing called Walk at Roar, and this program, when I did my second master's in early child education, it kind of evolved from my master's paper. And so what we've done is my principal has secured some resources, and we invite all the parents to come, and this is 2 weeks before school starts. And they get to meet both teachers and their grade levels, especially at our site we have 2 teachers. They get to walk with me, and I take them on an unofficial tour of the school and teach them about common areas and expectations. And we have just a real casual sit-down meeting talking about what are the expectations, what time does school start, what time does school end, where should you pick up your child, if they're car riders, what side of the building are they on, if they're supposed to walk home with their sibling, how are we going to get that older sibling with this younger sibling? So to us, it eases a lot of the fears of the parents. And I do that informally, especially as students come in throughout the middle of the year and such.
As an educator and somebody who has lived in another country and experienced what that feels like, I think the best advice I could give is to really focus on relationships. I think we can talk about policies and politics and finance and all of that, but really at the end of the day, we have to build relationships. In my experience, these are just kids. Kids are kids wherever you go. They want the same things, they have the same dreams and hopes. They deserve trusting relationships with adults. They deserve to be respected. So really, relationship building for me has been the most powerful tool as an educator and just as a person in general. I learn so much from my kids every day and from their families. So that's reciprocal for me, and I think I will always treasure the relationships that I have with my kids and families. They know they have somebody they can go to. And so if we can focus on that, we can build those other pieces in to make sure these students and families are a part of our community and can be successful.
Gracias por ser parte de mi historia. Gracias por ser parte de los sueños de muchos más que lo quieren alcanzar. Ahora la pregunta es, ¿será que nuestro barrilete va a volar? Nos enteraremos hasta la próxima.